So something a bit different today in today's video. No picking, no car boots, no charity shops. But I am going to be mentioning about charity shops today. And are they getting too expensive to even bother going? No picking this week at all. Got a few things that I'll show you before we start the video, what I picked up last week. But yeah, main video is going to be about charity shops. Are they actually too expensive to go in now, as it's becoming that time of the season where car boots will be slowly shutting down and all that lot? So enjoy this video. If you do, obviously hit that like button, and remember, if you are new, subscribe. I actually picked up these from one of the charity shops. I always pick up these. They're about £3 from charity shops. I'll pick up puzzles or games just because I know I will never get any comeback. I cannot be bothered to count the pieces, and some of these are worth quite a bit if you get the right ones with the right picture. These are all vintage as well, so they're like at least 20 years old and they're all sealed. Gibson is a good make. Nice little flowery thing. It's actually a famous person who my mom knows, somebody called Mrs. Beatons. I think she was like an old-fashioned like cook back in the day. It's a bit of a recipe, so I'm going to aim about £15 on that because of the recipe. This one is just a scene from an artist. Should know, as I studied art, Gordon Lees. So somebody who likes that artist might buy that. I'm going to put all these on £15. And then this is one of the brands that I actually love, and it's called Iduka. I ain't got a clue, but I bought one of these and it was opened, and I got a 5,000 piece one, I think, or 4,000 piece, and I sold that for like £60. They are really expensive. The reason being is these are from, I think it's Spain, or yeah, it's Spain. But what it is, if they're sealed, you can actually fix the puzzle. So when you're doing it, you fix it, and so it will become a picture. Really nice. Do a lot of famous scenes. So this is just an ordinary like sea, you know, rocks and water splashing against rocks. Nightfall, I think it's called. Yeah, looked up comps, couldn't find it. But yeah, probably about, I'm going to put this on for about 25 because it is sealed. But yeah, these are from the charity shop. I bought some magazines as well. This is from the car boot last week. I bought a load of magazines. I was going to film it. I was filming it, but there was nothing there. It was really big, but there was nothing. And you know I like my comics. There's about 130 comics here. A lot of them are X-Force, Fantastic Four, New Mutants, and if you're not looking at comics, you need to start looking at comics, because the Fantastic Four ones, like this one, it's not an expensive one, but you're probably looking about £20 just for that comic. Some of these are quite rare, but nothing special. For instance, this is number 7 in Iron Fist. So you think about it, this is 1970s, and it's one of the first ones. You think it's an American, so it's really in good condition. You're looking about £150 if I get that graded. So you spend about £40 getting it graded, and you could potentially make yourself £100. I paid £50 for all these. There is a lot of, I think what is it, X-Force? Yeah, there's a lot of X-Force, which is about 40 copies of X-Force. But if I want to sell them as a bundle, you're probably looking about £110 back just off them. So I'm probably going to do them as a bundle first, and if not, I can separate them and then sell them later. There is some nice ones. There's some nice New Mutants ones. There is actually a really nice one. Oh, I've got the first, I'm missing out number 1 of She-Hulk, but the first editions of She-Hulk. There was one before this where she came out for about, I don't know how many issues, but then the second generation. So they're still worth quite a bit. These are worth probably about £10 each. Venom versus Juggernaut, absolutely awesome cover, but not worth much. This one is first issue of Dazzler. No one will probably know who Dazzler is, but she is somebody hasn't came onto the Marvel universe yet, but probably in the next big film, I think it's going to be the Secret Wars or something. And she's going to be played, rumors, by what's her name? The pop singer. I can't remember her name. I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember at the moment. Yeah, she's going to be played by her. But this, you're looking around £20, £30 just for this comic, and it's in really good condition. I might get this one actually graded. The ones at the front are the ones I'm thinking about getting graded because they're actually worth a bit. And then the ones after these are just basically, yeah, I'm going to sell them all as a group. So I got a few things from the charity shop, and this is the whole point of this video. I'm doing this video because I want to see what other people think. Before I get into this video, I am not having a dig at charity shops. Charity shops are there for a reason. They do a wonderful job. You know, they are doing stuff for people who don't get help or don't get funded, obviously, like cancer, dogs trusts, dementia, everything. And there is quite a few people who don't realise how much work they go into. Some charity shops, I do feel like, not the charity shops in general, but the actual companies are more business minded now than there was about thinking about the charities themselves, because they're not like they used to be. They're more like a business now, and that's the problem. Me being a reseller, and obviously if you're watching this, you probably are a reseller, or you're probably wanting to be a reseller, and I have found out recently, more so when car boots have opened up, that charity shops have just suddenly gone up. I'm quite new to reselling. I started just before Christmas, just potting around the charity shops, and it was really cheap. Charity shops seemed to be really cheap last year, around the end of the year, and I was buying loads of things from charity shops, and making good profit off them. But over this year, the prices have just got up more and more every week, and it's getting to a stage where it's getting ridiculous. This is my first year of proper reselling, going full time, and I use charity shops a lot. Not as much when car boots are on, because car boots are just miles better to get lots of more stuff for cheaper. You can find better products, and people are not tending to care about how much they're selling for. They might know a rough estimate, but they're selling it because what they bought it for, and then just know they can't sell it for that, so you get a good price, and they just want to get rid of old junk. Charity shops are a bit different. There is still some really good charity shops out there, like the little old charity shops where they're just doing it for someone, like a charity in their community, and they remind me of the old days when I used to go in with my mum, get dragged in, and it used to smell, and the smell of like old people, like that musty smell. It's not like that now, but there's still a few like that which sell clothes. I got a couple of them where they sell the clothes for £1 for a t-shirt, £2 for a jumper, £3 for a pair of jeans, or a coat, and that's brilliant. They said they don't care what make it is. They just want to sell it because they get so much in. If we put our prices up, one, it's taking a long time to sort out the prices. Two, that people don't want to buy them because it's just as cheap on social medias like your eBay, your Vinted, because they're gonna compete with these people now, because they just do it cheap. But a lot of the big companies are just overpricing stuff. I have seen it on social media. I have seen it through fellow friends who are in the reselling community, that I've just shown prices of stuff that is just extraordinarily high. I mean, literally too high for even buying yourself. For instance, I saw one of my mates. He basically picked up this item which was 20 quid or 25 quid, and for him to sell that on, he probably would make no money. Charity shops used to be them places where you saw quite a lot of older people go in there to get something cheap, where you could get a dress, or mainly a clothing. I would say charity shops are there for, where you could get a cheap dress or cheap suit for maybe like £5, and it'll be a decent make. It might be like a Marks and Spencer's like suit. You maximum pay £5, maybe £10 if it was really, really, really good, and you'd be happy because everybody knows how much suits cost. Even cheap suits cost £60-70 anyway. So that was the good thing about charity shops. The only trouble is now they're researching virtually everything that has got a name on, a badge on, or anything. And it's getting to a stage where I'm literally going into charity shops looking at clothing. I'm not a clothing person. I'll pick up clothes, but I'm not really. I'm a bit of everything. I'll pick up toys and everything. And you're walking back out. I've been into numerous charity shops, and they've just been waste of time. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have even bought it for myself. Especially with the prices going up. I've also looked for stuff for my son, and they're overpriced. They're really overpriced. Shops, I feel like they're not as good as they was. I feel like they're dying out. They're overpricing. We all have seen them, especially places like Oxfam, where you walk in and you basically have to walk through half of the shop, and it's just all new stuff. I worked in retail, and they are trying to be retailers, and we all know Wilkinson's, half of them can't manage, they can't survive because they don't sell stuff. And Oxfam and all these lot are trying to be like them, when the stuff they're trying to sell new is nothing good. Bernardo's is another one. They sell a lot of like new kids toys, all these tacky little like squeeze toys. My son loves them, but they're selling them for £3.50 each. They're worth literally about 50p each. I could go and buy a big load of them, a box of them, for probably about 20-30 quid, and sell them for about £2 each. They're not worth nothing, but it's not. What's that got to do with like second-hand stuff? Like I said, I got nothing against charity shops, but being a reseller, I do feel it's going to be hard this year when it comes to Christmas going around. I'm not saying I don't pick up something like I did. I pick up these, and that's one thing about charity shops they don't know about. If you're thinking about doing reselling, or you're a reseller yourself and you feel like, well, how am I going to manage when there's no car boots? Well, you need to like expand your market. Don't just go into one market. If you just stay into one market or one sort of like item area, like say for clothing, you probably will struggle. Charity shops have a lot of clothing, so that is their main profit. That's where they get all their money from mainly. So they will look at stuff, and basically they will search every single thing. There is no point buying something for £10 if it's only worth 20 quid, because you're not going to make much money, and you got no guarantee it's going to sell. You could be having it for like 3 or 4 months, and it won't sell. So what's the point? You need to make money quick in reselling. It's okay if you've got a lot of stock, but if you've got a little bit of stock, buying something which might not sell after a month, it's pretty pointless getting it. I've got stuff that I've bought where it's lagging around, but some of the stuff is niche, so I don't mind it because it's expensive. But a lot of the stuff, like my clothing, I wish I never bought it, because even though it's a designer make, it's still not selling, and I do not know why. Maybe because it's too much, but the prices I put on that are they're not expensive. I've got a DKNY coat which I'm selling for £35. You buy one of them in a shop, you're looking at least £60, £70 for a brand new one, and that's not this one. It's a really nice one. It's got a motif on the back, very desirable. But a person's only going to buy that if they want that certain coat. So expand what you're doing. Go for things that people might not go for, and there's people who work in the shop don't care about. For instance, puzzles like this. If you find any sealed ones, just get them. If they're £3 or under, get them, because when they're sealed, you can put a price on what you want. Not many people are going to have vintage puzzles or any sort of puzzles. The puzzles sealed or game sealed, literally what they're selling for pre-owned and opened. So for instance, these puzzles here, they're selling for around about £7 to £10. So I know these sealed are double the money. I could sell each one of them for £15, and if I put them on for £15, they'll sell quite quickly. If I sell them for £20, they might take a bit longer, but I'm going to get more money. So puzzles like that are a great thing. Another thing is, like, obviously your pottery and that. Some things with names on they will find, but they don't know what they're worth. You know, if you're a person who knows your pottery, brick and brack, then get stuff like that in. But of course, it's a hit and miss. You're not going to find really expensive items. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. One thing I have found out that charity shops don't really care about is toys. They do not care about toys one bit. Unless it's something like really like desirable, like a Game Boy or a boxed brand new like Lego set, they all sell it for an expensive price. But for instance, I've got this doll here. I'll show you now. I haven't sold it yet, just still got it. Like this doll here. I bought this from a Seven Hospice, and this is a vintage 1970s doll. Reason being, I bought this. This was £10, which for a toy is quite expensive if you find it secondhand. But a vintage 1960s doll, if you search these on eBay, you're looking at anything between £80 to £150 for this. Is it going to sell quick? No, because obviously it's a niche market. You know, how many people buy dolls? Quite a lot of people, but of course it all depends on condition. She's really good condition. I've had a lot of people interested, but obviously people don't want to spend £130 on this because that's how much I want. I've had offers of 80, but I said no. Happily, I would take 100, but you know, you put on what you want. But other things, like I say, you get things like this. This wasn't from a charity shop, but these all day long, you will probably pick up one of these in a charity shop for £2. They'll be in a basket, and a lot of the soft toys like this are worth nothing. But you might remember I picked up a Sesame Street character, which was Beaker. I sold him for £45 in the end. I actually lowered him a lot. He was actually been sold for at least £70, but I sold him on Vinted for £45. I paid £3 for him. And then probably a month before that, I picked up a Butter Moon character from the 1980s, and I bought him for £1, and I sold him for £35 because he's a vintage teddy bear. He was only literally about that big. So if you're going to look for things, look for toys, especially stuffed toys. A lot of them are not worth any. You Build-A-Bear factories, people go on about these and they're worth lots of money. Majority of them are not worth anything. They're worth £5-10. But if you get the special edition ones, the limited edition ones, like Star Wars with all the gear, maybe Paw Patrol with all the gear, with the hats, the boots and everything like that, you can get other ones where they brought out for the films, like Sonic ones and all that. Like you can make quite a lot. I think one of the ones I've ever seen it was about £150, and I can't remember where it was, but yeah, it was worth a lot of money. But like say, finding them things are very, very rare. But yeah, I do feel like charity shops are going to be a bit of a struggle this year. But tell me what you think. Do you think charity shops are expensive, or do you feel like, well, it's a charity shop, you're giving to charity? A video like this is very like hit and miss with people. Some people agree with me, some people will hate me for it, thinking, well, you're taking out of a charity shop and then selling more, so you should be moaning. But a lot of people do. What do you think antique dealers do? Do you think antique dealers go around and just suddenly get all this stuff from nowhere? They go around car boots, they go around charity shops, they go around everywhere looking because they know what's expensive, and then they'll sell it for hundreds, even thousands. You know, we're just exactly the same, but we just do mass, items, and different things. So yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, we as a reselling community do help each other out a lot, but I do feel like this winter is going to be a toughie. Where I'm from, we've got quite a few charity shops, but not many good ones where I would say I can get bargains from. Um, Especially where I seem to do a lot of good sales in electronical, and the electronical in charity shops is expensive. I haven't seen anything cheap electronical. As soon as I see a bit of electronical, it's like they want 10, £15 for like a VHS, and I'm never going to pay that when I can pick them up for £2 at a car boot. It's hard, it's really tricky, but let me know down below what you think. All you resellers, what do you think? What do you feel like you're going to do over the winter periods? You're going to go around charity shops, you're going to stock up from car boots, or also the people who are not resellers, do you think charity shops, have you been in them yourself? Would you buy something from a charity shop now, or would you just get it from eBay? Yeah, let me know. But if you did enjoy this video, obviously like it. But yeah, hope you did, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye.